Pauline was never one to miss her daily coffee run. Every morning, she would walk through the little park on Fifth Avenue, greeting the same faces she had grown familiar with over the years. It was a small town, where people knew each other's routines, habits, and smiles. This routine of hers was a comfort, a small piece of stability in an otherwise busy life. The world outside the park and her cafe was loud and demanding, but this was her space, her calm in the chaos. That's when Biden came into her life, quietly at first, like a gentle breeze. Pauline had first noticed him sitting alone at one of the wooden benches, his gaze fixed on the children playing or the leaves falling. There was something about him that seemed at odds with the world around them, as if he was seeing something that others couldn't. She noticed him most mornings, sitting in that same spot, often lost in thought with a faraway look in his eyes. One morning, Pauline found herself drawn to him. She couldn't understand what it was. Perhaps his silent presence felt grounding, or maybe she just felt a quiet kinship with this stranger who, like her, seemed to find solace in the peacefulness of the park. "Good morning," she greeted him one day, offering a warm smile. Her voice was soft, and she hoped it didn't startle him. Biden looked up, his blue eyes meeting hers. They were kind, a bit sad, but they lit up when he saw her. "Good morning," he replied, his voice gentle, laced with years of experience and wisdom. "It's nice to finally meet the lady who walks by every day." Pauline felt a small laugh escape her. "And it's nice to meet the man who sits here every day." They shared a moment of silence after that, just watching the park, the people, the life around them. It was comfortable, as if they were old friends reunited after years apart. From then on, it became a routine for them to talk. Every morning, Pauline would bring 2 cups of coffee and join him on the bench. They would sit and talk about little things, how the seasons were changing, the funny things children did, the old memories each of them carried. Biden spoke about his late wife, how he missed her dearly, but how he was learning to carry on, one day at a time. Pauline, too, shared parts of her life, the love she once had, the dreams she had chased and lost, the loneliness that had settled in her heart over the years. Their friendship grew slowly, like a flower blossoming in the spring. They became each other's confidants, their silent cheerleaders, their touchstones. They were there to listen, to laugh, to console. It was a friendship built on quiet moments, understanding, and the comfort of presence. But as days passed, Pauline began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time, a flutter in her heart, a softness when she thought of Biden. It surprised her, the way she would catch herself smiling just because she knew she would see him in the morning. She didn't know how to explain it to herself, let alone to him. One evening, as they sat together watching the sun sink behind the trees, Pauline gathered her courage. The sky was bathed in shades of pink and gold, the air warm and gentle. "Biden," she started, her voice a little shaky, I think I've grown to care for you deeply." Her words felt heavier than she'd expected, but it was the truth she had been carrying for weeks. Biden looked at her, a soft smile on his face. "Pauline," he whispered, his voice just as tender, "I care for you too. More than I ever expected to care for someone again." They sat in silence after that, a silence filled with warmth, with understanding, with something unspoken that hung between them like a fragile thread. From that moment, their friendship grew into something deeper. They would sit closer on the bench, hold hands as they walked through the park, share quiet glances that held more meaning than words could express. They didn't need grand gestures. Their love was simple, gentle, a slow unfolding that wrapped around them like a blanket on a chilly night. One morning, as they shared their coffee under a large oak tree, Pauline turned to him, her eyes bright. "Kiss me, Biden," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Biden looked at her, his expression filled with both surprise and a softness she hadn't seen before. Without a word, he leaned in, his hand gently cupping her cheek, and pressed his lips to hers. It was a kiss filled with all the emotions they had been holding inside, a kiss that spoke of hope, of healing, of a love that was gentle and forgiving. They pulled away, and Pauline's eyes sparkled with unshed tears. "Kiss me again," she whispered, and he obliged, their hearts finding a rhythm together in that quiet moment. Days turned into weeks, and their love blossomed like the flowers in spring. They would spend their mornings together in the park, walking, talking, sharing moments that filled the emptiness they had both carried for so long. They became each other's anchors, their constant in a world that seemed to change every day. But life, with its inevitable unpredictability, had its own plans. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset, Biden suddenly gripped Pauline's hand tightly. His face grew pale, and his breathing grew shallow. "Biden." Pauline's voice was laced with fear as she watched him struggle, her own heart racing. Biden looked at her, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and acceptance. "Pauline," he whispered, I don't want to leave you. Tears streamed down Pauline's face as she held him close, her heart breaking. You won't leave me, Biden. You're right here, with me, and you'll always be with me. In that moment, as she held him, she felt the weight of every moment they had shared, every quiet conversation, every laugh, every kiss. She kissed him once more, a kiss filled with love, with gratitude, with a goodbye that she didn't want to say. Stay with me, she whispered, her voice breaking. Kiss me again, Biden. Just one more time. Biden looked at her, his eyes filled with a sadness that matched her own. With the last of his strength, he leaned in, their lips meeting in a final, tender kiss. A kiss that held all the love they had shared, all the dreams they had dreamed, all the moments that would live on in her heart. As the sun set, Pauline sat there, holding him, feeling the weight of his absence as the world around her grew still. She stayed with him until the stars appeared, their light a gentle reminder that love, once given, never truly fades. Days turned into weeks, and Pauline returned to the park, her heart heavy but filled with memories. She would sit on their bench, her eyes closing as she remembered his laugh, his smile, the feel of his hand in hers. She felt his presence in every quiet moment, every gentle breeze, every sunbeam that warmed her face. And as she sat there, a soft smile would grace her lips, her heart whispering the words she knew would forever be hers and Biden's. Kiss me again, my love.